Well, we believe it's deeply unfortunate that these Democrat senators made this egregious and completely irresponsible statement. And let's be very clear, Martha, these Democrat senators knew exactly what they were doing. It's not a coincidence that all of them have military or national security experience in their background. They were leaning into that experience to try and give a wink and a nod to the 1.3 million active duty service members who serve in our United States Armed Forces and essentially encourage them to defy the orders of their commander-in-chief, which is illegal, by the way.
President Trump and his supporters are happy and willing to not just accuse people who are exercising their First Amendment right of committing such unforgivable crimes as sedition and treason. They're so fervid in their rage that they're willing to even take legal action against people who are, again, just exercising their constitutional and protected right of free speech. And in this case, the so-called seditious six, the six Congresspeople who simply reminded our armed troops that they are not required to follow illegal orders from the president, are being met with death threats from that same president, which is funny because threatening a congressperson is actually illegal. The Congresspeople being threatened with execution and more realistically with an investigation are adamant that they will not be bullied by the president, nor will they back down from their message and position.
Not a single order this president or administration has given to our military has ever been illegal, nor will it ever be. This administration respects and abides by the law, and these officials know it. They are trying to sow chaos and distrust, which is a very dangerous thing to do within the military's ranks. The sanctity of our military respects and relies on law and order and the chain of command, and that's what this administration is trying to say, and that's why the Department of War opened up this investigation against Senator Mark Kelly today.
Yeah, you have to wonder at this point if they retrospectively think this was a good idea or a bad idea, because it doesn't seem to be working the way that they wanted it to, and now they're kind of stepping all over themselves, trying to answer the question of what they were talking about in the first place. But you make a good point that it sows. They were hoping to sort of sow this distrust. Go ahead,
they can't answer the question, Martha, because there is no answer. They can't identify illegal orders because there are no illegal orders. But they were suggesting, again, to the 1.3 million active duty service members in the military today that if you think an order is illegal, you don't have to follow it. Actually, that's against the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It explicitly states, and I want to read this language precisely, that service members have a legal obligation under the U.S. UCMJ to obey lawful orders, and that orders are presumed to be lawful. You can't have a soldier out on the battlefield or conducting a classified order questioning whether that order is lawful or whether they should follow through. There must be a chain of command in our military.
And this investigation is obviously a sham, and it's not going to go anywhere. There is no legal or constitutional basis for any of it. As I mentioned, the president himself committed more of a crime than the Congresspeople did in his written and publicly posted threats that he made against them. It's not going to go anywhere. It's a waste of everyone's time. And to make it even further, even more of a waste of everyone's time, it's now a whole conversation that we as a nation have to have.
Yeah, everything's a psyop. Remember when AOC was letting undocumented people know their rights? And she said, here's a list of things that you are entitled to by being here, even if you are in this country illegally. And they said that the AOC was committing a crime, that she was trying to tell people to do illegal things and evade ICE when she was just telling you what your rights are. And these Democrats are doing the same thing. They're saying this is what your constitutional oath means.
Republican Congresspeople are now being asked whether they support the six or the president. Members of our military are being asked similar questions, and they're being asked for clarification. Do members of the military swear an oath to the Constitution and to the American people, or do they swear it to the president himself? People are asking, what even is sedition? Well, according to Oxford, sedition is conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. but does reminding people that illegal things are illegal count as inciting a rebellion? What I would like to see come from all of this, on the other side of all of these inane debates that we now have to have, is that more Congress people will stand by the six. More Congress people will join them in their calls to stand up to tyranny wherever it may present itself, and others outside of Congress will agree that this whole conversation is dumb and unnecessary. Similarly, I would love to see members of the military either resign in protest or, yes, refuse to follow illegal orders in accordance with the oath that they took. That oath is not sworn to any one president or administration or political party. It's sworn to the Constitution and to this country, the institution, and the people. But yes, welcome to 2025. We're almost at the end of it, when, as Jessica Tarlov says, everything is a psyop, nothing is real, and everything's a game. We interview politicians as if they're like Real Housewives on Bravo. We spin reality in the press to the point of just negating the press. What is the point of the press anymore? No one knows what's real anymore. Everyone is afraid of being the one to get got. We all need to feel like we're the ones who see through the nonsense and the propaganda while everyone else is still stuck in it. And the end result is that we have forgotten how to think for ourselves. We've outsourced so many of our own mental faculties to podcast hosts and YouTubers, and now to AI. We ask people who have no understanding or knowledge of our own lived experiences to interpret the world for us, and instead of using their presumably more informed opinions and analyses as considerations while forming our own opinions, we just take theirs as truth. So what happens when the so-called truth becomes contradictory? The only outcome is that we exist in a place of constant cognitive dissonance. We have, as a people, become dissonant. And I have to address the obvious for a minute. I am a person on the internet talking into a microphone with the expectation that people are out there listening. One could credibly argue that I am something of an influencer, but for the record, I would never categorize or identify myself that way. I've always said that I will give you the facts first, then I will give you my interpretation of the context and the significance of it from my personal perspective. I will give you the things that jump out to me. I'll tell you how I receive certain bits of information. I'll even try to tell you how other people are receiving that same information to the best of my ability. But my opinion or personal experience with something is not and should not be yours. It could help you to consider other perspectives. Hopefully, I will have given you some facts to help you understand what's actually happening, facts that should be the basis of how you interpret everything else. But I've always encouraged anyone who is listening to anything that I have to say to keep exploring these topics. I give this audience a few 10-minute videos a week. That is not very much. Most people watching these videos, however, are likely consuming plenty of other content from around the internet, either from other TYT contributors or from people on other networks or just different independent creators. And it's good to be informed, and it's good to take in different perspectives on topics, but it's also good to find balance, and it's also good to hear your own thoughts, to remind yourself of the things that you know to be real, and to actually feel your feelings and sit in those feelings for a little bit. The world is loud. There's so much noise out there because noise makes money for a lot of people. But damn the man and take back your silence and your peace when and where you can. And we all need that as we head into this very tumultuous holiday season, all right? That is it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.